What's up, agents? Welcome to a jammed-packed news video. We are fresh out of the live with Leo and Dragos about the PTS. There's a few other bits of news thrown in there for the rest of the week as well. Obviously, the incursion and things that are coming this week. I'm going to throw it all to you right now with screenshots, information that I frantically wrote down. It was absolutely packed. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. So first of all, huge breaking news. The audio bug should be fixed tomorrow. We don't have to wait for that. It should be coming with the update that is going to be tomorrow. We didn't get any kind of dates and times about that. I think we'll probably get them later today. Don't worry, I'll post them on my socials. You'll be the first to find out. But yeah, that is an absolute huge thumbs up and great that it's going to be in for tomorrow, considering that we've got a brand new incursion. Leading on to that, the incursion is obviously on the 11th with the season climax as well. There's going to be patch notes later tonight. We'll go through them in a different video. The incursion patch that you're going to get for if you manage to complete the incursion on day 1. That is going to not be directly given to you the minute you complete it. It's going to be issued after the fact. They're going to check the data and stuff and things like that. And the reason for that is that obviously there might be a certain amount of time where if the servers came up, you might eat into the 24-hour window. So yeah, don't worry too much about that. You will get it granted at a later date. Don't worry if you see me taking screenshots. That's exactly what I was doing. We're going to go through all of them screenshots in more detail so we don't have to pan through the video. It was quite a lengthy stream, nearly an hour, but we'll go through some other notes now that I just took while I was watching that wasn't really screenshot worthy, and then we'll go through screenshots looking at new gear, changes, determined being changed, and things like that. Obviously, the incursion starts tomorrow on the 11th. The PTS is going to go live on the 14th, so at the end of the week on Friday. We'll get the PTS patch notes on the 13th. The brand new season is called Red Horizon, which you can see up on the screen right now. But what they did mention is that cleaners are coming to DC. They're going to be fully integrated to the DC map, so control points and things like that. And the sky, I believe, is going to be going red, which is pretty crazy because this season is very much focused on fire. And as the season progresses, there's going to be more and more cleaners that are going to show up. I'm not sure how that's going to work. They didn't really say, but I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Retaliation is getting a new cleaner kill squad, as you would expect. That's now the 3rd time we've had a variation on the kill squad, and they're only going to be around for this season. Next up, we got a quick look at the brand new global modifiers under pressure. But what is interesting to see here is that they are making us play in a very certain play style. So you can see here, build up pressure by eliminating enemies in various ways to build up the gauge. Gaining increased stat bonuses and unlocking active modifiers allow you to go past the threshold. But during fights, staying out in the open for too long will make the pressure gauge decay. Stay in cover and move cover to cover during combat to avoid the decay. And you can see there that that's how you build that pressure gauge up. That if there is a kill, you'll get 25 points towards the pressure gauge. A skill kill, 30. But obviously these will stack up as well. So if you get a skill kill, that will count as both. For instance, if you get a headshot and a fire kill, you'll get 50, 60, 70 points towards it. And then at the bottom there, you can see all of the various bonuses. Because obviously if you'll see it a little bit later on, but the actual gauge itself looks to be in 4 different segments. So 10 to 30 pressure, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, and then 90 plus. I managed to snag a few screenshots of the active modifiers, but Leo did say that a lot of this is set to change. We're not going to take too much time to look at this, but he did say we will get the updated version in our PTS. This was an old build. So we had signed, shield, and delivered, which I thought was pretty good. Dragos did mention that he likes a pun. But we've got here one that focuses on signature weapon range and damage, which I thought was pretty good. He then also mentioned that he likes signature weapons and he feels like they're undervalued. So that was pretty cool to see that we're going to get some modifiers to affect that. And wait, there is actually a modifier that is going to affect the flamethrower, and I'll show you that in just a minute. We've got the vicarious combustion, so hitting a headshot on an enemy that is on fire applies burn to all enemies within a radius for the enemy. And what's crazy about this is it's literally all on the pressure gauge. There's no waiting for a timer, there's no waiting for it to cool down or anything like that. As long as you keep your gauge up, you're going to be able to use these modifiers over and over again. And then we've got the fire rate aura as well, so while active, a damage resistance buff that increases while sprinting. Enemies near you receive a burn status effect. The time that they get is within the area of effect. So yeah, pretty cool there. I think that all looks pretty great. Definitely will be interesting to see how that plays out with there being no cooldown. This was the one I talked about before. We didn't get too good a look at these modifiers, unfortunately. But you can see here there's one called New Model, and it applies to the K8 Jetstream Flamethrower, which is obviously the signature weapon. But as you can see, we get 30% damage to named enemies, because signature weapons are not great against named enemies. We get less, more damage, more spread, more range. Oh no, sorry, less total damage, so against the other enemies. Less spread, but an extra range. So we might actually feel like the cleaners, where they have the insane range. And then we've got a quicker equip speed as well. Then we got a quick look at the hostile modifiers. We've got 1000 cuts, which affects your pressure gauge if you get hit by the enemy bullets. Achilles heel, which gives, after breaking any of the enemy's weak points or armor pieces, they will heal them 50% of themselves. And if we're going to be fighting cleaners, let's face it, that's very easily to do accidental. And then we've got the draining presence. While this enemy is closer than 7 meters, lose 10% of your magazine and 10% of your gauge every second. That sounds absolutely brutal. We're then going to look at some new weapons. The Fafnir, close to my heart, was a really good enemy in Final Fantasy XI, dropping some of the best gear. But you can see this shotgun now has a chance of applying burn to the enemy. And then weapon damage is amplified by 30% of your status effect bonus. So you can see the gun there itself a little bit, but obviously they add some missing textures. But Leo did mention a few times that that would be fixed when it comes around to the PTS this Friday. We then have the steamer and the teapot that have the perfect boiling point. So the first 25% of your magazine will have minus 100% critical hit chance, but the rest will have 100. So yeah, that seems pretty crazy to me, how that is going to work out. Definitely interested to throw that into some builds and see how that applies to burst and sustained DPS. And I do wonder what the non-perfect variants will be like. You can see that's the Fafnir again. Oh, I didn't quite get it, unfortunately, on the teapot. You can see that's an MK16 there for the steamer. Next up, we got the brand new gear set, the Ember engine, that's giving us skill efficiency status effects. And every status effect you apply has a 20% chance of also applying burn. So potential for double status effects with this set. If the status effect initially applied was burn, the enemy will receive 25% burn damage for the duration of the burn. And if I just scroll up here a little bit, because he didn't show us until afterwards, we will come back to that in a little bit. We have the talents here for the oh, I missed the backpack one by the looks of it. Oh no, we go. Every status effect you apply has a 20% chance of applying burn to the enemy, but I missed the actual extra bit that you get on the backpack, and I again missed it for the chest piece. And the chat was shouting at Leo to scroll down. I guess that's probably why, unless I missed it myself, and if I did, I'm very sorry, Leo, for saying that. But then we got a look at the brand new shooting range. They also mentioned at this point that we're going to get Dark Zone loot upgraded to Heroic in all the DZs. The new PvP DZ Dark Zone is going to get a brand new loot pool with more information to come soon. But obviously then in the range as well, you've got Damage Self, Skill Haste, as we've got now. But we've also got options for PvP normalization and PvP balance, allowing you to test your PvP builds just that little bit more, which I thought was pretty good. You can see here the new Blackout Dark Zone prototype works in here, or however, they are going to do some balancing for augments. That is actually going to be in the game tomorrow, even though this Dark Zone is not out yet. But you'll be able to probably toggle and get an idea of what exactly is going to be like when you finally come around to going in there. Then we got a look at the new debuffs for the new Toxic PvE DZ. You can see them down here at the side. There's going to be more factions in there this time, not just hyenas, nor canisters this time either. But in extracting your loot from the PvE DZ actually clears your toxicity debuff, so you don't have to leave or anything like that, which I think is a nice quality of life. A bit of a W there. And then the big news, and I suppose probably the biggest news out of the stream itself, was the next two things that we're going to look at just here. The first one being that Determined has now finally been fixed. And it will depend how old you are to the game, whether you've been used to using Determined as is and you didn't know that it wasn't working correctly or not. But Perfect Determined was working how regular Determined should always have been. Regular Determined you could constantly proc over and over again, and Perfect Determined didn't allow you to do that, but that was actually the intention, that you could hit one body shot and get that big burst of headshot damage still, but then you couldn't chain it and it wouldn't reactivate over and over again. They've finally fixed it, but what they have done is they put a little bit of a halfway point in there, where they've added a brand new exotic called the Iron Will. Your next body shot will be considered a headshot, cooldown 2 seconds. It doesn't work with shotguns, but it essentially re-enables that determined behavior for your build. But obviously, because it's a chest talent and a chest exotic, you're not going to be able to use Headhunter for that extreme damage. So it's kind of a midway point. If you still want to be able to body shot headshot, you're going to be able to do it, but just with less damage. Therefore, then kind of pushing the fact that if you do hit headshots with your sniper build, you are running Determined, you are running Headhunter, that headshots still actually matter, because let's face it, as of right now, and for a long time, they have not mattered. That was the Ember Engine ones that we didn't quite get to see. But then the second big news was that they are actually buffing True Patriot, which was pretty crazy to hear after all the time we've heard about it. But yes, True Patriot buffs are coming. You can see here that this is some of the changes just here. And as long as these don't change, Leo did mention that things change a lot of the time, and the PTS isn't the updated version. But I think I can see there that red, white, and blue, every 2 seconds enemies shoot, you receive a stack. It looks like red has been buffed up to 15%. I believe that was previously 8%. Then we've got white at 2% still. I believe that's the same. But the blue one has been buffed up to 10%, and that was previously 8%. But what we don't know about is what the chest and backpack have in store for us. He didn't actually show us them. I was kind of desperate to see that, but we didn't see it. Then he talked about the huge news that they will no longer be releasing brand sets. Brand sets are done, but they are getting an overhaul. And for instance here, as you can see, 511, the first bonus now, I think it was health originally, now comes with 10% protection from elites. So depending on what else they've changed, that could be pretty impactful, especially if you have prototyped some of your gear. But I'm really hoping that that's the kind of improvement that we've had, and it doesn't affect too many other people. You can see here we're getting Perfect Protector, on a new 511 backpack called the Keeper. We're getting perfectly reassigned on a imminent armament chest piece called the Trick Shot. And we're getting perfect tag team on an R&K chest piece called the Rushdown. And that was kind of it from my X notes, but there was a few other things that he did drop into the conversation. So we'll just drop back to this for now, so you've got something to see on the screen. But they said there's more PvP changes coming as well for us to test. That's going to be in the PTS. Skills are getting looked over at last, but there will be some other gear and attribute checks and changes as well for us to take a look at. They are also going to take a look at gear sets. They did then also say to us again, Strikers is not being nerfed, but they give the indication that gear sets that are harder to use. So we have some, you know, weird ones like Virtuoso and things like that. We have to be in and out of range and things like that. They're actually going to get greater output. So it sounds like sets that are harder to use are going to get significantly more damage, whereas ones like Strikers are just going to be left because they're easy to use. So that will be really, really interesting. They did also say that they have removed, yes, that's right, removed some attributes from the brand sets altogether, which I thought was pretty interesting. So no more shot resistance, health, incoming repairs, swap speed. That they have all been taken away. But obviously, as we saw with that 511 piece before, we are going to be getting protection from elites, which is going to be crazy. But they did say, don't worry too much. We're still going to be getting gear sets. And they're actually going to be introducing more named pieces now as well, to kind of make up for the fact that they're no longer going to be doing brand sets. They did kind of finish the stream with a little bit of bad news, that the prototype recalibration or recal or whatever it turns out to be that they mentioned in the last stream, they said they would get some insight for it in season 3. We're actually not going to be getting any insight for it in season 3. They've said they've delayed it. They need a little bit more time to cook to make it get to the community's expectations and feedback that has been given previously. That's going to be it for the video. It's a pretty long one already, but we're going to be back at some point, hopefully later tonight, with some patch notes. So don't forget to come and check that out as well. Join the Discord for all the crazy discussion I've no doubt is going on right now. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.